Welcome to Hope and Sunshine Fine Art Studio. This is where our video classes begin and where you will learn to create art from your heart. We hope you enjoy.
Welcome. Welcome to Hope and Sunshine. Welcome to be with me visiting and online. And I'm happy to be with you, all of you. And I am very grateful to you and all the good um, report that I had, and all the good feedback that I had. But also, I want to make a deep, beautiful, deep thank to the Board of Commissioners of the Fulton County, because they have been the one who are the sponsor of these classes for you to learn for free and for me to teach you. I want to um, tell you today that this has been a beautiful learning process for me, because I never had taught art in long distance like that. I have many beautiful comments from Argentina, from Colombia, from Spain, Italy, Germany, and Syria. And I never thought that this could be so wonderful for all of these people who are watching me, and for me to get to know and have friends overseas. I have many friends over here, but I'm glad to have friends overseas. Today we're going to do a beautiful painting, and I'm going to show you new techniques that is going to enhance, because a little by little I've been increasing the knowledge, the teaching for you to increase your knowledge. And we're going to do today a beautiful magnolia flower, which is the national flower of Georgia. And I thought it was very appropriate because I live in Georgia, and I like very much over here all the trees that we have in every day around, and also the changes of the color for this fall, who are absolutely glorious. Um, the spring and fall are nature in her prime to do wonderful new section of colors, and the rose colors are absolutely glorious over here. And as an artist, to me, this is part of nature also showing her artistic ways to do things, because that's what it is. Nature have a different timing in the year. We have different moods, different situation, but also nature have that particular magic way to create things to do not make us feel bored along the year, and changes totally different the aspect of our life, and after that our perceptions. And fall is one of them. To me, winter is wonderful, but it's kind of a little cold, and I don't like too much cold weather. But it is beautiful also when it is a beautiful snow in the country. That it is absolutely magical also. But fall has that particular enchantment of the way that nature says so long to the green and come back to dorm and wait for the uh, winter to go over. And it takes their time, and if we enjoy and had that connection with nature, we also learn a lot to change our moods. If all year round will be the same, we're going to become very bored. But this is the way that nature gives us the chance to see colors. And as an artist, I love colors. And we're going to begin this class because it's very, very um, appropriate for the timing also. And I would love to show this uh, particular way to do it. This is what we call white on white. And you could tell me how you could paint white on white, but simply doing shading what the shading should be. And when we finish, we see that the dressing of a painting is the mat and the frame. And I'm going to show you guys how this look after we're done. I have a mat over here. I don't have a frame, but I have a mat, and I'm showing you guys very visual how a paint it changed totally different view when you put a mat on it. And when you put a frame, it's the completion of a wonderful work of art. It's like a woman when it goes out for a dance, it puts on makeup and put, the fine clothing. It looks totally different than every day, but this is exactly what happened with a painting. When you use a mat, it just changed the whole perception of that painting because it enhances the color, enhances the look, and enhances the beauty. And I'm going to teach you guys how to create this. And I hope that we have enough time, and I hope that I could do it really quick to, if we cannot accomplish in this only, we could make 2 days. And also remember that you could see this in YouTube besides
on my channel. On my channel. On YouTube?
You could see these classes in YouTube, and you have to go to YouTube channel Hope and Sunshine Fun Art Studio and click in subscribe button while you go there. And I'm gonna thank you because now we have another way to um, publish these courses of art, and I hope that you will love it. Okay, to do our painting, we're going to take our canvas that have been primed again. Remember that canvas are being primed by the manufacturer, but we also tend to do a finer job and we prime it again. First of all, what I do is just do the right dimensions for putting this at the same um, frame level. And I'm looking for my ruler over here, and I find it. And what it is that I measure the original, and to measure the original to give me a good point to create my edges, and that way it is centered and it will be no neither one side neither another side, it will be centered. I'm going to begin this with the stem, and the stem is kind of a little, I hope that you could see what I'm doing, but I have to write draw with very soft strokes because we are using watercolor, and watercolor is water soluble, but it will show the graphite and mix the graphite with our painting, and I don't want it to do that. That's why if you cannot see it totally, you will see it when I'm painting. It will be no problem. Okay, I'm creating the stem, and I'm creating another stem that it goes over here with a little bot, and I'm creating a leaf that comes from here. Remember that this kind of flower, the leaves have two different colors. They have one green color, very strong color in the reverse, in the front, and in the reverse have some sort of a brownish color. It's the way that nature wants to create something different, and nature creates us too different, and it's a good thing to do that. I have over here another leaf that comes from here, and I'm going to create my leaf right here. Do the center. You know, leaves have like us. We have our own lymphatic system, and also we have our own blood system. They do too. And I'm going to create over here the stem who goes from one stem to the other one, because we have a flower already bloomed, and also we have a bud which is going to be right here, and it's another leaf over here that is kind of a little twisted, because sometimes leaves go twisted, and if you don't see it, you will see it later, because I had to write very, very softly, but you will see it later when I start painting. Now we're going to create our first petals, because Magnolia have the way to kind of embrace the center. It's like a loving hug to the center, which is where the Magnolia have the fragrance, that the beautiful fragrance that, I don't know you, but I used to use Magnolia perfume, because I love the soft fragrance that Magnolia had. And I'm creating over here the other section, because every single flower, it comes with a section over here that is holding the petals, and it is another leaf who goes from here and go behind that and appears over here. And now I'm going to create my center, which is sometimes I count the petals in that way. I be totally um, accurate, and I'm going to do my first petal over here who goes this way, the second goes this way, and it folds a little bit, and it's another one who comes here, embracing the flower. The center of the flower is where the um, perfume comes, and I'm creating now the other side of the center, and now I'm going to do the bud. The bud is a flower that is going to be, and it is an anticipation to see. I always like to see a flower with buds, because it is an anticipation of another flower. And if you have seen some films that they do a slow filming, that they could just undo film how a flower goes and open up and be a flower from a little bud. But also I want you to see that also a tree begins with a little seed, and many flowers just go there because they wanted to create either a tree or whatever other um, another plant could be, but it is a secret. The flowers are in nature because they attract bees. That is, the pollination is the continuation of the specific flower or the specific tree or a specific whatever we're doing to accomplish later on. Nature have their own time to do things also, and it takes the time to do their own magic. I I believe that nature is a very wise lady, and it's a symbolic thing because it's not a lady, but it's a symbolic thing. And I believe that they know exactly the time for everything, and they don't rush. We're the ones who are silly to rush for everything. Nature never rushes. They have the time to bloom, they have the time to grow, they have the time to do different things, but nature never rushes. They take their time. And I encourage you to be a positive thinker and take the time to be slowing down. Enjoy enjoy watching nature, enjoying watching how scenes are created so wisely, and apply this to your own life. We are the one who are all the time trying to accomplish too many things at the same time, and we are the one who are missing to see. And that saying who said, please stop that, stop and enjoy the roses. To me, is very very um, wise, because we should not be uh, rushing all the time. Uh, that is wrong with the nervous system, and it's wrong with your health, and it's wrong with many things. Just take your time. No matter how life could be rushing you, have time to devote to yourself. Have time to devote to do some yoga or do some meditation to slow down, because we live in a very fast-paced world that our body cannot handle sometimes. I I'm going to create over here one thing that you guys haven't seen. I'm going to create um, what we call white on white. To create white on white is very, very simple. It looks difficult, but it's not. It's not absolutely. White on white is devoted to a little bit more advanced artists, and I hope that my beginners do not feel scared right now, because it's not so hard. My beginners have been following me for a while, and they have been accomplishing many things. I have one student who sent me an email with a picture of what she's doing, and I am absolutely proud of her, because she's doing a heck of a good job. But some other ones who think that they cannot do it, please don't do that. If I could do it, you could do it, and I'm going to show you how to. I'm going to make our palette right now with not too many colors, because we don't need too many colors in here. We just need to have white, of course, and this is a new, and I have to open it because it's a new set, and I'm going to use a little bit more white than I normally do, because we have more surface to cover. And we're going to do some green, soft green or light green, and a little bit of darker green. I'm using more paint than normal, because this is a very big leaves, and it's not like other things that I've been doing before. Also, I want to show you something that you guys need to be learning also. I'm using now Beryllium Green, which is a darker green. And sometimes when you are a beginner, don't be frightened to put too much or too little. It's better to put little, because this dries. It's a water soluble, but it dries. And if you don't be quick enough, you will have the problem that you don't have enough time and enough paint. That means anytime you could add or paint, but you cannot subtract. Okay, our palette is almost done. I need a little bit of black and a little bit of brown. In my other class, I was telling that black and white is an absence of color, and it's a part of technical thing that because I am a science teacher, I've been teaching my students that what is absence of color. Absence of color is very, very simple. The primary colors are the colors of a rainbow, but if you put it in a wheel and you put the wheel in a certain velocity, it becomes black. If you put it in a higher velocity, it becomes white. Why that happens is because the color of the prisma, when it touches the earth, it changes. It changes with velocity, and light and color are vibrations. And the higher the vibration, the darker the color could be. It's one of those things that I explain to my student. I am a high school and college teacher, and my students been fascinated with that. And it's fun. It's fun to do this experiment. Okay, I have my palette almost done, but I'm gonna call again for another thing that we're gonna use in here. I was explaining in my previous class that I use um, water, because this is a watercolor paint, to dilute the paint, but also you could dilute the paint with liquid text, which is a polymer who's given a patina surface to the paint to look more brilliant, more appealing, and also preserve the paint to last longer. And this is done in France, but we have some manufacturer who does it over here in the United States. And the name of this one, which is very good, is Liquitex, and you could find it in any art supply. And I'm gonna just put a little bit because I don't need too much. And we're gonna begin the painting right now. Remember what I've been telling you guys, to do this with the brushes, because brushes, if they are new, they have like a little a glue that they put to preserve the result and on time, in proper way. But also, if you use the brushes, no matter how good you clean it, it always leaves some residues that affect the fluid of the paint if you don't do this. Remember that also as a good measurement to open up your brushes. I'm going to begin with my butt first, because to the paint that we paint ourselves, we begin from left to right. Any type of painting, it will be much better if you do that. Remember to do that all the time. And I'm going to do my petals over here, and you probably don't see too much the white, but you will see it in a little bit when I start enhancing the white. To do white on white is a good technique to learn. And the situation that you guys are, some of you are very beginners, some of you are intermediate, but some of you also are advanced. And this is a advanced technique that we could use in the intermediate level, because this one will help you a lot with many other things. I'm going to just start building my butt here and change brushes, because I need to do a smaller. The petals who embrace the bud, they are not white. They are a little bit of mix of white and brown to make a combination of brown and yellowish tone, because this is a beautiful thing that nature does. It teaches how to use color in many different directions. And I'm doing my petals over here lighter, and I'm going to pop up in a little bit the colors using something else. And I'm using a little bit of green over here and mixing the green with the brown to create a totally different combination of color. As much as we advance in our teaching, I'm going to be explaining you guys what are the warm colors, the cold colors, the primary color, the secondary colors, and the tertiary colors, because every single phase of the paint, it has different names and different application and different uses. To pop up these, I'm going to do a mix of, and I'm going to put my palette over here that you can see what I'm doing. Black to put a little bit darker brown, If you have like me right now, that I've been recommending everybody to have a 12 color palette kit. If you have a 24, you don't have to do that. But I'm doing now uh, what is need to do. I'm creating a new shape. But if you buy a manufactured palette that has 24 color, you don't have to do that. You have this color already there. But it's good to learn how to do the color like everybody else. In the greatest artists that we have in the history, the masters, they used to do their own pigment, their own colors, and they mix their own scene, because at that time, many years ago, there was no manufacturing of any paint. Every single artist had their own color, and they've been very jealous to give away their secrets. They used to do um, their own composition of pigments using plants. Michelangelo, he used to be very jealous with his blue. He never gave the recipe to anybody, because it was a product of his own investigation and his own ways to create his painting. That's why he became a master. Uh, I'm enhancing over here and popping up my initial petal, and I'm going to also do a little bit of the system of the every single petal has, like we have our circulatory system, they do too. They have like a little veins to get the fluid, the nourishment to grow. And we have this portion done. I'm going to cover over here a little bit to get this sensation of roundness. Remember that to do round scene, you have to do your stroke in round motion. This is something that I never get tired to tell, because to create round motion, you're creating the illusion of roundness that is so important. Okay, now that we have this done, I'm going to begin to do my stem also, because I'm going to take advantage of this brown that I create over here plus the green and mix them up and do the first. The stem of the magnolia is not totally green. It's a mix of green and brown. Even if they are green, there is not totally green. And I'm going to put some green in top to create the color of this stem. To do the section over here, to pop it up, I'm going to mix again a little bit of black, a little bit of brown, and make it darker green. To do some strokes over here, darker green. Remember, to make the illusion that this is round, you have to go with stroke round. I never cease to tell this to my students, because the student, when they're new, they tend to do one stroke straight, and that never will work. Remember that we create illusion because we are working in a flat surface, and we are creating roundness with the strokes of our brushes. To do this part, I'm going to use my little 5-0 brush because it's more ductile to do this combination. And I recommend you guys to get brushes in different brushes have numbers, and every number have a thickness of the portion of the bristle, but also the 5 the 5-0 brush is a special brush that they've been used in the retouching of photography. And because I am very meticulous person, I do a lot of fine detail. I do love this brush because it gave me the flexibility to create very thin stroke without any problem. Now that I have this part done, I began to create the white and white. I'm going to create the different shade that we need to create roundness in a white. And you will see that white and white is very easy. As soon as you know something, and you see it first and you say, oh my God, what this teacher is going to do to me today. But you will see that it's totally easy to do. I'm mixing up a little bit of green, very, very soft, with a lot of white and a little bit of the polymer and a little bit of white, the water, to make a soft, very soft color. And I'm going to just do this very softly, creating the roundness of the petal. And I'm going to be increasing the shading in between each different petals. And this gave the illusion, and you will see how that works after I start doing a combination of grayish blue, grayish and green. It's very easy. I'm going to use a little bit of blue, very soft blue, diluted, very, very light diluted, to mix with black to create some sort of a very soft gray, very, very soft. It's so soft that you cannot visibly perceive it too well in the beginning, but you will see that I'm going to increase these edges, and you're going to see how a flat surface becomes totally round. And my students, when I do this in my studio, they get fascinated, especially the beginners, because when I tell, okay, we're going to do today white into white, and they said, teacher, how in the world you could do white into white? If it is white, it's white. If it is, it cannot be white into white. But it's many shades of white also. And a long time ago, I had the fortune to be hired to paint a wedding dress in Miami, Florida, for a very, very rich millionaire daughter who was getting married. And she wanted to have her wedding dress hand painted. And let me tell you, that was a beautiful way, because she went into one of my artist exhibition, and she saw that I was painting in silk, and her dress was dupioni silk from Italy. And she saw what I do in my paintings for what we call wearable art, which is art that you could just paint in a blouse or a dress. And she went totally nuts for what I'm doing. And she said, I want to get married with a hand painted dress instead of the regular dress we had sequins or had lace. And it was a challenge for me, because I told her that I could paint, but and there is many shades of white also, but I never had done that before, and it was a challenge. And I got material and I started practicing my own abilities, and I got 7 shades of white. And you tell me how you could make 7 shades of white. I did, and it works. And they invite me for a reception and the wedding, and I absolutely adore her, because she was very good looking, good young lady, and she was totally beautiful in her dress. Let me tell you, I wish I could have that opportunity again, because I had done many things in my life, but that one made me feel absolutely proud that some of my time that I invest in doing researches, it worked out so well. Okay, I had done my bud, and you see that the white to white is possible, and it's not so difficult like people think it is. And I'm going to do a little bit of the the petals also have a circulation system, like we do have a circulation system with um, our blood vessels and our lymphatic vessels, and the flower had the same thing. And the one in the magnolia are very acute, they're very visible. And I'm going to just do this to make the roundness and make believe that this is their circulation system. And the center, because the petals are embracing each other, they are surrounding each other, I do it a little bit darker to create that roundness in the flower who are on undoing herself little by little and later open up. It's very romantic and poetic, let me tell you. I adore nature. I am a very big observant of nature, and I have done lot of time in botanic garden watching flowers, and also in the Discovery Channel I have seen those films that they do with a slow camera that I could see a flower open up by itself, and it's absolutely fascinating for me. Also, I have painted the back of a flower, the back of a rose, and I said, okay, if the front of the rose is very appealing and beautiful, the back is pretty beautiful too. And when I paint bouquets of flowers, I always paint one flower in the back, because nature, when it is in the outside in the nature, the flowers are not also in the front. You could see the side, they on the side and the back and the front and all of that. And that's what I try to create. I try to create the uniqueness that that nature does with the flowers. I'm a flower lover, and I love the fragrance. I love the view, the composition of the petals. And as a teacher who teach science, the flower also have the way to reprocreate itself. Every single tree who has flower is, all what it's doing is like we do when we have babies. We are reprocreating ourselves again. Uh, One of the things that I not too fan about it, but I accept that, is when we are trying to do um, cloning. In the beginning, I wasn't too sure that cloning was right, because I don't think we should alter nature. Nature is beautiful enough as it is, and it's absolutely fabulous. But later on, I have seen that cloning, it has different application, and I've been more um, easy to think that okay, cloning could be okay, but um, it's very difficult to um, create something that nature so wonderful create. Man sometimes had to admit that we could be very creative, very good, but we cannot totally be like nature does. And I'm doing over here the petals of my main flower, which is very easy. And I'm going to let it dry for a little bit to create the center, the portion who's enveloping the core. And to build the outside, you will see how little by little I do uh, one on top of one uh, shade of white to create the illusion. And you will see how this goes, because it's fascinating. My students always love to see this. I was fascinated when I learned it from another artist who's very beautiful, and I fascinated when I create something different than what I learned, because every time that you do something, there is something better that you could do, and I learned that a lot too. We could just surpass sometimes our own abilities, and I have seen absolutely fabulous ways to do the same scene in different ways. I'm creating over here with round motion the center of the petal whose fall like this to create the center of the flower. And I'm doing a darker shade. It's a mix of blue, green, and white to create the shadow. The petal is white, but it has a shadow because the light doesn't get there. And that's the opportunity that we have to create white into white. While I'm doing that, I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, but in the other one, I'm going to put a little bit more of green because the outside of the petal, it has a little soft green going on mixed with the white that we have. If you there is many varieties of this flower also. I have seen, I have in my garden over here one variety that is totally is white, but the uh, shades that I have outside is purple, and it has a beautiful uh, tone of purple and white that is absolutely exquisite. What I'm doing is very soft, creating the roundness, the illusion of the roundness of the petal with very soft, extremely soft combination of blue, green, and I'm going to enhance it in a little bit with a darker color, almost a shade of gray to give the illusion that the flower has the roundness and also depth. Depth in a flat situation, in a flat canvas, it could be hard to do apparently, but it's so easy that anyone could do it. When I was learning this, I saw the result first, like I'm showing you the final product after we began the classes, and I was wondering how we could create roundness in white into white because the background is white and the flower is white. How I could do that? But it's so easy that it didn't have any problems. As you see, I'm doing round motion sections in the center of the petal to create depth. That depth is the one who's going to help us to visualizing that is totally flat because the canvas is flat, but we see the roundness because that's the magic of paint. That's the magic of art. We could create illusion of depth with a brush and with paint. And you see that I'm doing layers from light to dark because in some portion of the flower when the light hit the flower, when the light goes there, there is different shades of shade. Let's put it that way. The shade has two different ways to do that. And now we got our petal here done, and this one is going that way too. And as you see, it's nothing difficult in this. In the beginning, I believe that some of my viewers went totally scared when they saw this, because that's the reaction that I have when I teach it in my own studio. They get scared because when they are beginning, they think they cannot do it. But when I show them how easy it is, they totally flip. And it's easy, you see, there is nothing wrong with this. Now, to create the outside darker white, I had to let it dry for a little bit, and I'm going to do my leaves to make this um, uh, dark, dry. In that way, I could create the border of the rose, or the border of the magnolia, who's in the outside. The inside is what I'm creating right now, the inside of the petal. And I'm gonna let it dry and do my leaves on, because what we do is layers. To create the the surface of the leaves is very dark, and the background is totally brown. But we don't have any showing the outside. We have just one who's all the leaves over here is showing the front. I'm going to create my first leaf over here, and you could see how I stroke round. Anything that you do, you see that is round, do the round stroke also. You cannot create anything round with straight strokes. It's impossible, and also it's inappropriate. This is just a preliminary, because in this case I had to build little by little the shape of it. I hope that you're enjoying this, because I do enjoy what I'm doing it. There is a leaf over here in behind my magnolia, because the magnolia is being caressed by the leaves. I don't know if you have observed a magnolia tree. Magnolia uh, uh, flower open up, surrounded by leaves, like they are caressing her, they are protecting her, because even if the petals are very strong and very uh, the the nature itself is doing something romantic with this magnolia. It's being guarded and caressed by the leaves. If you count the leaves, sometimes it is 7 of them around a magnolia. And I dare you guys to go to any magnolia tree and count the petals, because I did that. It's good to create any painting that you create mimicking nature, to create it, count the petals, count the leaves, and count everything, because you want to be as close as you could be with what you're doing. And in the mix over here, I'm using my polymer, but I'm also using water. When I need to make it thicker, I use the polymer. When I need to make it lighter, I use the water. That's another thing that you guys need to be learning. The magnolia leaves are very big, and I painted very small, and I'm painting it big right now, because they are very big leaves and very strong also. What I love is the fragrance. I It's something that I adore over here. In When I moved from Arizona to here, in Arizona we don't have magnolia trees, and I was fascinated the first year when I came to see around the complex where I live so many magnolia trees totally blossoming. I was totally fascinated, to the point that I had to confess that not too many people do that, but I one day I went and hugged one tree, because it was so pretty that I said I had to hug it, and I did. It might look kind of ridiculous sometimes, or weird, but it's nothing weird to hug a tree. I tell you, if you could do that, you're going to see that it's an alive scene, and I don't know if it is my vivid imagination, but I think he was my friend. He became my friend when I hugged it, and I'm glad that I did. If you are like me a nature lover, uh, one of the gorgeous things that I enjoy over here is going to a forest preserve. I went the first year to a garden that the name is the Gift Garden. I love it over there because the best Oriental uh, Japanese garden that I have seen in the whole United States that I know was there. I had problems to leave it because I want to stay there for a while. And I went with my son and his wife, and they were in a hurry to come back home. And I just wanted to stay there because it was so beautiful. I'm building color over here because this is a big color, big leaf. I'm building and let it dry and come back again to make the leaf very original and very. Here I'm going to paint this leaf who comes here, and the other one is in behind, and it's right. This is like a bending. This leaf is one in behind and one in the top, but this one is bending. It just grew up that way. I think she's uh, trying to be different, like I do. I might be a little different person in many ways, but I'm glad that I am different because everybody is unique, and the same thing happen with flowers and with trees and vegetables. Each of them have their own enchantment. Each of them they have their own flavor, and each of them have their own colors, and each of them are different and unique. Okay, this leaf came from here, but it bends, and I have another one in the back, and you will see how I build the other one. But I'm going to build right now this portion over here that is a mix. It's the part inside over here that is totally different story also. It's a part that is combined with a little bit of brown and a little bit of green. And I'm going to do my brown over here, mix them up with a little bit of jello to make it lighter, because this is the initial petal who was the bud, the initial portion of the flower who did not open yet. And it's not white, it's totally soft brown and green. And the stem in the beginning is same, it's the same color. It's a mix of brown and here we have the beginning of a branch, and I'm going to just enhance it over here because this branch, this little thing over there could be another flower also. As you see, this is nothing really hard to do, and if you've been scared the first time, please don't be scared anymore, because this is piece of cake. I'm doing the preliminary brown, and I'm going to go on top and do some green also, because if you see, the real magnolia tree is very deep green mixed with brown, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to create this portion over here softly. Round motion make round a flat surface, you see? If you are observant, like I am, you will see that it's nothing really difficult. It's just It's the time that you invest observing who counts, and it pays off, because the more observant you become, the better you become as an artist. It's a wonderful. I used to go, when I had the time. I used to go to um, shopping center and go close to one of those escalators that you could just see people going up and down. And because I am so curious, I wanted to do a good portrait. I wanted to see the expression of the person who goes up and down in the escalator, and I had done hours sometimes watching people uh, expressions, and that helped me to paint much accurate expression of people. And I recommend you guys to do the same. The more curious you become, the more it pay off. Art is nothing but recreating anything who exists. And if we become good artists, it's because we are able to recreate something that exists. Whether it is a person, whether it is a flower, a landscape, anything. And it is an enchantment to could be able to recreate something that exists. And also the stem of the and the trunk of the magnolia tree is not straight like other flowers are. This one is a little bit chunky and it's not regular. It's a very irregular um, way. I'm building my edges over here because I'm gonna go and let it dry and go back with my green and mix the green with the brown that I'm painting. It's like a combination of different layers to create the illusion of roundness and the illusion of alive, because exactly what we're doing over here is recreating an alive stem and alive also flower. I have been spending time watching a caterpillar walk, and I paint a caterpillar once, and I really enjoy, because anything who is alive, you could reproduce it. But caterpillars are very different, uh, because they have, some of them they have hair, and some of them they don't, and some of them they have. If you study like I did science, some of the caterpillar create also uh, a chemical to the, not discourage or to mimic other things, to discourage the predators who are preying on them. And most of the caterpillars that I have been observing, they're fascinating. I'm creating right now deep, the deep color green on top of the brown to give it the exact direction of this effect. Because as I tell you, creating white into white is not so hard like it looks like. That means if you've been scared at the first beginning, enjoy now that it's not so bad. Enjoy the certainty that yes, you could make it. Don't be scared. And to enhance also, we could mix a little bit of yellow in top to give that effect that the light creates in any surface, especially when a trunk or a branch is rugged. It has different shades, and this gives the pop up illusion that the light is stroking over here and it's changing the color and it's changing the effect. And I hope that you enjoy the way that I teach, because I'm trying to be as practical as I could be, and I try to be as explanatory that I could be, but also I try to be as efficient to take the fear away from you. Every beginning is sometimes petrified when they see something changing. And I have that experience with my students sometimes, because I appear at giving them something difficult for painting and challenge them. And when they see that the challenge is not so hard, they see that they've been scared for nothing. And that's a same thing happening in life too. Sometimes we get scared with something that is really not real, and we elaborate fear out of nothing. That same thing happened over here with the COVID-19. Many people have been scared to go out and mingle and do that. And yes, it's good to have the precaution to be using the gloves for all people, or the mask. It's good to do that, but don't be so scared. Your immune system is absolutely capable to succeed if you put this fear away. Fear, what it does is interfere with your health and your happiness. Fear, I enjoy saying this to my student, because um, I remember what Kennedy expressed one day, that it's no good to create fear or have fear out of fear itself. That is true. Sometimes we self-sabotage ourselves, creating more fear than is needed. And I have a boo-boo over here, and I want to go and help the help of one of my friends over here, the Q-tip. In that way, this boo-boo is not going to be too hard, and we're done. The boo-boo is away. I encourage you to keep trying to be better, to be absolutely certain that if I could do it, I'm no better than you, and you could do it too. It's just, it takes time, like everything, like nature takes time to a little seed to create a tree, and for a flower to create a fruit. Everything takes time and takes practice. That means, please practice on your own. Watch this video anytime you like, many times. Take your time. I have my trunk, my branch, totally done, and it looks very real. I'm gonna do something over here, same thing, and I'm gonna finish that in no time at all. And if you've been scared before when I show this, please start laughing now, start enjoying this, because there is nothing to be feared to. I'm going to create a little bit of lighter color also over here in the initial petal, to make it rounded with a little bit of yellow. Blend it, and it had the perfect effect. Okay, now my rose is, or my is almost done. It's almost dry. I'm going to keep building the painting the different layers of white to create the roundness of the um, petal, and also the illusion of the depth that we've been looking for. And I'm going to make this leaf a little bit bigger also, because the magnolia leaves are big, and I'm doing another shade on top of the shade that I let it dry, because this canvas has been 5 times primed, 3 for the manufacturing and too for me, but it does really need coat after coat and top of the coat because it's a big surface, and my first surface is being absorbed by the canvas itself. And this is something that I want to talk to you guys also. If you paint, uh, none of my students have gave me that question, but I'm anticipating something that you're going to experience. If you finish a painting and the next day the painting doesn't look like the first day that you painted, it's because the canvas itself absorbed the paint. What you could do is retouch it again with another set of paint in top, and you have, because the the paint is being absorbed by the fabric, and it's been kind of making the paint look different the next day. That happens very often. What I recommend is that when you prime canvas, let it dry very completely, and give it some time to what we call aging. Uh, I don't know if you have seen um, a fry pan that sometimes gets oil in the outside, and the chef call it aging uh, to the pan. That's what happened. Different layers of grease had built another layer on the pan itself, in the bottom, not in the inside, in the outside. And that one produced better flavor, believe it or not. I I am a cleaner. I love to have everything clean, and I have one chef telling me, please don't do that to your pan. If you're gonna fry, let it himself to be uh, aged. And I said, what the heck is that? He said the filament, or the different uh, a round of grease that it goes in the outside of the pan, for some reason alter the heat of the fry pan when it's frying. And I never knew this, but I'm glad that this fellow told me about it, because I I thought that the manufacturer itself, when they sell one pan, they had done something to make that pan cook well, but it's not the case. It might be the most expensive pen, but if it's not aged, it doesn't fry the same way. And it's something that I learned a long time ago, and I'm happy that I learned it because it was fascinating. I think that applies to people also. In this United States, the culture over here have a little bit unfairness with all people. And I'm not criticizing the culture, neither I'm criticizing American people, because this is my country too. I've been here for 55, almost 50, almost 55 years, and I am as American as you are, because we all live in the American hemisphere. But what we do is different. In my culture, we take care of our elders. We never put it in a nursing home. In many Latin American countries, and also in China, they nursing homes do not exist. And I have a deep respect for old people, because they do have the wisdom that young people don't have. And here, I have heard the comment many times, oh, she's old, and please don't do that. I encourage my students to ever do that. You know why? Because one day you're going to be old too. And when you experience that comment, you're going to feel deceived. You're going to feel that somebody is not appreciating you, and it's not fair. Enjoy the wisdom of your grandma, or your grandpa, or your aunt, or whatever old person you have in your life, because that person has lived longer than you do, have experienced more things than you do, and you also have more wisdom that you do because they have more maturity. I don't criticize anything because I'm very non-judgmental person, but it hurt me when I heard that comment many times. It hurt me because I adore old people, because they have the wisdom, and I wish that you change your perception and your frame of mind in the future when you hear this comment that I'm doing right now, and appreciate your old family and never put it in a nursing home for a stranger to take care of them that sometimes they don't take good care, and they mistreat them. Your parents, your grandmother, your grandfather, your grand aunt, or anybody old, he has that knowledge, he had that love for you, and that absolutely thing that you don't have, and they could teach you wonderful things. Pay attention to grandma and grandpa philosophy because they have lived longer, they know better. I absolutely adore when I have alive my grandma because I learn a lot from her. I build my leaves darker now, and to make it pop up, I'm going to use another technique that I'm going to teach you guys. Beneath this leaf is another leaf that I'm going to just paint right now, and I'm going to paint the stem of this over here a little bit brownish. And in this case, I'm going to build right now the different tonalities that a leaf has. And to do that is so easy that you will see that it's no problem at all. It's totally piece of cake. I'm washing my brushes right now because the paint that I use it with polymer, and the polymer dries really very stiff, and I don't want to damage my brushes, and I recommend you to do the same. Your brushes are special. Your brushes are your vehicle that you use to create scenes, and you take care of them and clean it every single week. And I'm going to show you guys when I finish here one thing that I recommend you guys to get, because brushes are expensive. Everything in art is expensive, and you need to be very careful to make it last longer. Okay, now I have my magnolia flower already dry, and I'm going to build white in top of white to create the whiteness of the bending um, side of the petal. I'm going to give 3 coats of white on top, and you will see how pop off it comes. The whiter that you go in the center, the whiter it looks later on. You will see that the illusion of roundness and illusion of shading, it manifests itself. This is the magic of art. Um, I am an art lover, and I am a very optimistic person. And to me, art had gave me such a beautiful joy in the moment of crisis, in the moments of sadness, in the moment of trial and tribulation. And that's what I am. Because the Door County, uh, I'm sorry, um, the Fulton County, it did approve my project because I create a mix of art with the intention to give joy and give uh, positive thinking to all my viewers, and that's why they choose me, because I'm merging two of my careers in this. Art is also a tool for you to relax and enjoy, because when we're doing art, we are creating um, brain waves in our brain that they are alpha waves that help us to be very relaxed, very easy going. And I'm building right now my white portion of the petals. To You will see how it pop up and create the illusion of roundness and create the illusion of a flower, a real flower. And it's just doing it with white on top white. Don't feel bad when I call you Kiros, because I call Kiros to my student, because to me you are a little bit of me. You are a little bit of my own family. I'm a very caring person, and I love to use words of endearment to my student, and they know that I love them, and I know that they feel happy when I do that, and that's what I do it because they make me feel happy too, to make happy somebody. And this is part of the um, magic of art. Art is a beautiful tool that we could use, but we could use it in many different ways also. I'm creating right now with yellow a specific portion over here that you will see that it will look totally real after I do the like this. We have circulatory system. The Every plant have their own circulatory system too, and I'm going to create now the veins that bring the sap, which is the life of that plant. It's a little bit darker, and I'm going to create this right here to create the different veins, because this is what they are, veins that this leaf has to um, put this nourishment to the leaf and make the leaf alive. Remember that every single plant is an alive scene. And I got over here, and I got over here, and I'm gonna go with my 5-0 brush to make very thin line in between the lines also, because these create the illusion of their circulatory system and make it a leaf look more than a leaf. The leaf of the magnolia tree, they're very sturdy, they're very thick, and they're very, very fragrant. When you have a chance, investigate, because I had been close to a magnolia tree, and I smell the aroma of the leaves. It's so beautiful. It's not only the perfume of the flower, it's just it has a specific aroma that is very pretty. I create my veins over here, and I'm going to create now in between the veins with yellow and mix it with a little white, patches of light that create the roundness of the leaf. And I'm doing it very thick. Okay, I'm almost done. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Because this is created differently, this is bended. I'm just going to do it in the center and do it like this, because it's a bend, totally bend. I hope that you enjoy not only my classes, I hope that you enjoy my philosophy, because I have many things that I transfer to my student while I'm painting. Um, Normally, um, every person who's a teacher, um, because teachers we have that ability, we could just do also a lot of good things, telling them, telling our student the good thing that we experiment, and transfer that knowledge, transfer the feeling, and transfer the way to create a rapport with our student, that we, because we care. Teachers are teachers because they care. They, we choose this career because we born caring persons, and there is many kind of person in the world, but teachers are special in many different ways. Your mother is a teacher, your father is a teacher. You learn in the beginning when you were a toddler, uh, from your family, and you've been conditioned by the teachings of the uh, people that you see along your life. And we all teach each other. I learn from you guys too, and it's fabulous. It's a wonderful thing to do this. I'm gonna do now enhancing my leaf to make patches of light that it will contribute for this leaf to be more alive. And also contribute to get the roundness of this one who's totally bended. In art, we have a say that we have also um, certain specific ways to um, create the same thing with different ways. And this is the part of the um, portion that I teach. Sometimes I have the same effect created in different ways, and it helps a lot to be very observant. And that's what I do. To be a good artist, you have to be very observant. Observe nature, observe whatever you want to paint, whatever, whether it's um, a flower, whether it's a tree, or a fence, or anything, object. Observe the edges, observe the roundness, observe the squareness, whatever that object is, more deeply. In that way, you become better artist. The more you observe, the more you see the difference. And practice also make totally different from one day to the next, because you are creating something, you are learning, but at the same token, you are perfecting whatever you learn. And that's what I'm doing over here, is going back and create this leaf circulatory system, and I'm going to create also the shape, because it's totally bended. I'm going to do the other one, and we are almost done. This one, because it's bigger, I'm going to do a bigger scene over here. What I'm doing is just creating patches of light and mixing the background paint. And if I had too much, I could just go over and over and make it blend. And this is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to make it blend to make this pop off. Also, observe the play of light. The light do plays with things. It teaches have to be um, anything. I don't know if you have observed a gloomy day, the difference between a gloomy day and a very sunny day. It changes your mood, it changes your behavior, it changes everything. In art, the different lights changes the whole painting. The different, and also I'm going to teach you another thing that is very confirmed by many artists. If you teach, if you paint, try to locate what is the north of the house or the place that you are in, and look the scene that you're painting until in the north light. It's very different than the other portion of the west or the east or the north light. Every single artist who has a studio always are looking for the north light, and if you cannot see it naturally, you could create it with different light. Over here in my studio, uh, I had light, which is regular light, I have plant light, and fluorescent light, and the three combined is mimicking the natural light of the sun, and it helps me a lot. As you see, I'm trying to create over here my circulatory system from this leaf more pronounced, making lighter the outside, and it does play a great difference because make the leaf look alive and round. Okay, I'm gonna finish my painting doing my petals over here, and we are done in no time. And if you haven't changed your mind from the first scaring feeling that you had before when I told you that you're going to be painting white into white, now you feel totally confident that it's possible. There's nothing wrong with it, and it's beautiful. Okay, this leaf, because it's behind it, it is dark. I don't going to do anything on it because I just want to do the little, because there is shade over here, but over here in the top I do because the light is hitting over there, and I'm gonna do a little bit of light green. Okay, we're done with the leaves. And I'm going to create my petals, and we're done. Okay, to do the petal, enhance the color, I'm going to create a little bit of a combination between blue, gray, and white to create a very light shade of um, grayish blue um, mix. And because this is very light, I'm using water to dilute my paint over here to create a little um, grayish tone with some blue on it to make it in different shades also, darker and lighter. And I'm going to use the darker first to outline my petal. And you will see that the petal pop up. And where it's shady, like here, I make it darker to make the effect of roundness. And I'm going to use my other brush because it's a big surface. I'm going to mix this color here, blend to create roundness. It's a blending of gray, white, in circular motion to create roundness. Good. I'm going to do the same thing with my other petals, and we are almost there. Don't be scared if it is too dark. I will blend it. It's just I wanted to pop up each petal to give this sense of roundness and depth. In the outside, I do lighter color because the light goes from here to here, and I don't going to do this one too dark. But these petals are bended inside, they're folded, and I'm going to touch it to appear folded. And we're going to create a little bit of shading in between, and we're done. I don't know you guys, but I have a vivid imagination. In this moment that I'm painting this magnolia, I am experiencing one of those flashbacks that I have when I go to nature, that I remember how it smells, and now I'm smelling the fragrance, maybe because I am too attuned to my own feelings. Um, I'm experiencing right now the remembrances, the um, way that I remember when I was smelling a magnolia in their own tree. In the center, I'm doing a little bit darker to give depth to the petal, and if you see, it works like a charm. In art, roundness is an illusion, and that illusion creates a big, beautiful effect that it is absolutely fabulous to see. See, this is very dark over here because it's bended. I'm gonna just dilute it over here and mix it, and you see how the flower looks round, and it's white, and we're painting in a canvas, and the canvas is flat, but we're doing depth with the strokes, with the shading, and with the, and I think in my flower there is a leaf who goes in the back over here. I'm going to erase it, but because there was another flower that I had before, I'm going to erase it because the original one doesn't have it. And I'm going to do the shading and we're done. And this time I think we are on time. Great. My beautiful lady here, technician, she's the one who been patiently helping me to overcome all the difficulties of technology, because I'm very good artist maybe, but I'm not good in technology. And she is absolutely helping me to put together these courses and put together my classes, and I am eternally grateful to her because I have learned from her a lot. If it wasn't for her, I cannot make this. But I assure you that when I began, I was scared, and I see that there's no way that we could be scared at all, because there's no reason for being scared. We have problems with the technology, but we figured it out. She figured it out, and I have to give the credit to her, not to me. I'm painting. I'm just enjoying painting over here and teaching you guys, but she's been absolutely fabulous, and I have to give credit to her, because if it wasn't for her dedication and her knowledge, I couldn't make it either. Her name is Charmaine Scrub, and I am totally, totally grateful to have her as a friend and have her as a helper, because if it wasn't for her, I cannot be able to do this. That means
Thank you.
you're welcome. I'm going to do the shading and we are done. And this time I didn't went overboard. I did went right on time, and I'm happy because honest, I've been kind of trying to be constricted to the time that we need to do these classes, but I also get away. I mean, I get sometimes carried away, and I don't do what I'm supposed to be doing. I take my time, and I not abuse of my beautiful lady who helped me. It's just I shouldn't be more careful with the timing, but I get so influences what I do. I get so fascinated what I do and what I teach that I forget all of that when I'm doing it. Okay, I'm creating over here the shading that this is, little branch with the leaves create. In that way you see that it will pop off fabulously, because in every single flat surface that you have something round, it creates shading, and that's what I'm doing right now. And you will see this totally created over here, very nice and popping off. And I hope that you enjoy the classes. I'm very grateful that you are with me in these classes, because I wish I could see you guys and have you guys' opinion verbally. When I have a student in my studio, I exchange um, their point of view. They teach me and I teach them. We become friends and we become happy because they learn with me and I learn with them. And but now that you guys are in the other side of this camera, I don't have that opportunity. But I hope that you gave me your opinion in an email or in Facebook or YouTube, because I watch everything. Sometimes I don't have time to answer everybody, But if you have questions, I will absolutely work on to answer your question. When a person is giving me good feedback and giving me a lot of beautiful compliments, I don't have time because we've been preparing these classes to answer everybody personally, but I will try to do that as much as I can because I appreciate you guys' presence in my classes. I appreciate your input. I appreciate your comments and your questions. And please don't be bashful and let me know what you think and let me know what your opinion is, and I'll be more than happy to um, thank you whenever I have the time. Time have been friendly, but I also have been our enemy because time have been very, very small or skimpy doing this. We need to do a lot of things. Okay, our painting is done. I'm gonna sign it and show it to you with the final touch, which is the frame. I mean, not the frame, the mat. I'm gonna sign it over here. My copyright is not a circle, it's a heart because I paint with my heart. I love to do this and I put my heart in what I do. But if you wanted to learn copywriting legal scene, the Fulton County is doing seminars with that. And they sent me an email and I forgot to mention that. My dear viewers, this is the final scene. And if you see, that is absolutely fabulous after it's like when you dress to go to a dance or a big gala in any place, how different the painting looks when it is matte and when you put a frame on it, it's a work of art. I'm going to thank all of you guys to be patiently following me in this series of classes. I'm going to give my thanks again to the Fulton County Board of Commissioners to make this possible because they had uh, selected me and gave me a grant to be able to be painting. And I am extremely grateful to all of you
Welcome.
who have been spending this time with me. I wish we could see each other. I hope that we could see each other next Wednesday again, that you could be enjoying what I'm going to be presenting and I'm going to be teaching. To me, it's more than a pleasure. To me, it's a joy to be here with you guys. And I hope that I could just touch each of you with my personal way to um, be grateful to you guys to be here and also to give you my shining personality because I do be very optimistic and also be able to teach you something that appeared to be very hard, but it's not. You witness that it's totally easy to do this. That means please keep joining me every night and Wednesday night, either in YouTube or Facebook, and we're going to be friends forever. Have a wonderful time, have a wonderful evening. So long.